Hi, everybody. Welcome to Homies and Houses. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Stephanie. And do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, Stephanie?
Oh, I had nothing prepared. Hi, I'm Stephanie. I guess I'll just start with what I do all the time on all my jobs. So I own a gym. I've been running an Airbnb in my house since 2017. I help my husband run his business, which is a mobile vehicle detailing business. I am studying to get my property and casualty insurance license so I can sell to businesses in commercial spaces. And oh yeah, my other job. I recruit in the insurance industry as well. So that's why I started to sell in insurance because I've pretty much have worked adjacent to it for 5 years.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a lot going
Um,
on.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so the Airbnb since 2017. So I know Stephanie. Stephanie's been my best friend since we met on LinkedIn. Like 20, probably close to that. Oh no, yeah, before
It's like
that.
10 years ago. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, 2015.
2015, I think.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
because
Wow.
then you moved to the town I was in Owatonna. And yeah, you started this Airbnb, and I think you were like the first one in town. Is that right?
Yeah. I I'm pretty sure. Because when you look up like on Airbnb, if you like do a reverse lookup as a guest or traveling, if you will, um, it doesn't show all that are available if they're not available, if they've already been rented or whatever.
Mhm.
So I would look it up and I would be like, I'm the only one around. Like there was another one, but it was an actual B&B listed on Airbnb.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
wasn't like a home. It was like kind of a hotel bed and breakfast thing that they listed on Airbnb. And then me.
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm And I did it because I was working at a job and I needed a second job and I already had a roommate and I'm like, I am too old. I have a professional job. I should be making more money. I've been in professionally working at this point out of college for 5 years. I'm like, why do I need to go back to serving and bartending to supplement just so I feel comfortable? And I was like, what can I do that's not going to be backbreaking work, like serving and bartending? And I looked into Airbnb and I was like, I think I invested 100, maybe $200 to get like a keyless entry and then to furnish the room.
Yeah.
So I kept it like really cheap and then that paid off in the first month.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
amazing.
So
Yeah,
hmm
do you
that's
want to tell us
amazing.
a little bit more about your how you run it, and it's a bedroom out of your house, right?
Yeah. So I've rotated which room gets rented because I have a 3 bed, 1 bath house, about 1,000 square feet. And I've rotated which room gets rented out based on my lifestyle, I guess. So right now we rent out the whole second floor. It's kind of this like lofted bedroom situation. It's really big. It just keeps the guest up there instead of coming down into our space and like
Hmm.
using the living room and like wanting to like hang out in there and be with us. It just forces them to stay upstairs and be more comfortable in their space. So but when I started, my roommate had that room. I had the primary room, and then I had the guest bedroom was like technically like a little kid room, so there's like no closet. So if they needed to use a closet space, they could use the living room closet if they needed. But otherwise, yeah, they just had that room to themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, me and Rachel were kind of talking about this when I told her about you, and I'm just like, I don't think I could rent out a room in my home. Not like, I just feel like it works really well at your house because, like, we'll get into that. I've been there when you have guests there and stuff like that, but I just feel like I would, like, not want, like, a stranger, like, because they get to use the kitchen and, like, living room and all that, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
How do you feel about
Um,
that?
so honestly, it did not cross my mind. It didn't cross my mind that I'm gonna have strangers in my home. Um, and my first guest off the bat was just this awesome 21, 22-year-old guy. And this is my typical guest. My average guest is a young man, 22 to 35, in town for an undetermined amount of time for work
Mhm.
and usually construction. Um, anyway, so I had this 22-year-old young man, so nice, so fun. We became friends. Like me, him, and my roommate, we hung out together all the time. But no, the safety aspect, it did not cross my mind. I was just like, I'm gonna make new friends. Um, but my roommate's mom, in passing one day, she came to pick her up or drop something off, and I don't want to say her name, but my roommates, she had told her mom that I was going to be doing Airbnb. And I remember her mom saying, "Are you sure that's safe?" And I was like, well, I don't know. I was so broke at the time. I was like, who cares about safety? I
Yeah.
need money. So, like I said, I didn't want to, return to serving and bartending because that's the only other way I know to supplement my income.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, no, that didn't concern me at all. I was just like, I'm gonna make new friends. And to be honest, I have had, I want to say by 2020, Airbnb told me I had had over 300 guests by that point in time. And
Wow. In
so
3 years.
2017 to 2020, yeah. And so now we're in 2025, almost 2026. It's got to be like 5 to 600 at this point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, besides, I took up a lot of that time. I've rented for
Oh
the
yeah.
they offer Airbnb.
For like a year and a half one time, I think.
Yeah, and actually, one time it was, we won't really get into this, but like it was because, in case people have questions, like I started an Airbnb where I live now and I wanted the income. So I was like, can I just like rent from you so I can like Airbnb out my house? Because she kind of
Mm-hmm.
like brought the idea to my attention way back before I ever thought about starting. Just the fact that she was always full with guests. I'm like, obviously there's a need for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but what about like there was a time when you didn't even live there though. I'm just remembering that. And you had more than one
Oh,
guest. So like what was that like?
yeah. So that I lived like 45 minutes to an hour away at the time. I had gotten a job in another city, and they had said eventually you can be remote. And so I commuted for, I don't know, maybe 3 months, and it was hell. It was awful. The hours were longer than I had expected, and they did not tell me that. This whole job was a horrible situation, and I stuck it out for a year and a half. But um, I ended up getting an apartment in that town, and then I Airbnb'd out the whole house. But I Airbnb'd each room individually, but only two of the three,
Mhm.
uh, because the roommate I had, she was still in the upstairs, so I Airbnb'd out the two main floor rooms. And then when she moved out, again, I don't want to get too personal with it, but she left that room completely trashed. And I had broken a rib at the time or dislocated it. I don't know what I did, but it was horrible and it took me 6 months to heal. And I couldn't lift anything. It was awful. And so every time I would go to the house to try and clean out her room, I could only clean out like maybe a one trash bag at a time, and I needed like 50. It was so bad. And so I wanted to rent out that room alone, but I couldn't get it cleaned out fast enough. So I just had the two main floors rented out
Yeah.
pretty much that whole year until I was able to get that room cleaned out.
Mhm. And did
Hmm.
you ever have any interesting guests at that time?
Oh God.
I didn't
Yes.
prepare you for this.
Yes. No, we can talk about my crazy guests. It's
Yeah.
fine. Actually,
Please.
okay. Okay. Well, I'll get into her,
Wait,
but I
before
have a
you get
really
into
funny.
that, do you
Yeah, yeah.
now have locks on your door or like more safety precautions, or are you still kind of like, ah, safety, whatever?
So, like, you mean my like personal bedroom with my husband?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
No, because I have cats and dogs, and they
Okay.
need to be able to go in and out of the room to drink and eat and go potty and whatever they
Okay.
need to do. So, no. And it doesn't bother us too much.
Okay.
Um, if anything, I think it's maybe a little weird for the guest, like when they come downstairs at night to use the bathroom and our bedroom door is just wide open and the bathroom is right across from our room. I'm sure they're kind of like, I'm not looking, like,
Yeah.
trying to just walk by I don't know. I think that's a little weird for them. So when they first get to the house, I always prepare them and I'm like, hey, just so you know, like we have to leave our door open because the animals, blah blah blah. And then they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. No one's cared at all. So if
Yeah.
they do, they don't say anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Crazy Rita. I'll get into her in just a second, but I do have to tell you something. So I have this young guy staying with us right now. He's maybe 20 years old. He's in town for work and he's from Brazil and he's so nice. I just love having him. But he came into the living room the other night and he's holding a container of strawberries. And he goes, "Hey guys, do you have any bleach?" And I'm like, "No." "Why?" And he's like, "Oh, I just need to wash my strawberries before I eat them." A lot of that's the face I
Oh
made.
my
I'm
gosh.
like, I'm
What?
like, "What?" And I'm like, "I have vinegar?" And he's like,
Is the
"Oh,
same
that'll
thing
work."
here as in Brazil? Like, what?
I looked it up and I'm like Googling it. I'm like, "Do people wash their fruit with bleach?" And in all caps, AI Google is like, "No, don't do that." I'm like, "What on earth?" So I didn't want to embarrass him because like I said, he's really young. I didn't want to embarrass him and be like, "Why do you think that's okay?" Okay,
Is there a language
Crazy
barrier?
Rita. No, he actually, I wouldn't even know he's from Brazil. He has no accent until he
Huh.
says like maybe certain words. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah,
Something's
you
funny.
do have a
Yeah.
bit of an accent." But I do have to screen for that with guests because there's a lot of communication you have to have in a shared
Hmm.
space. And
Yeah.
I dealt Rita, we're gonna get into Rita, and then I had a guy from was he from Kenya? He was from Africa, but I don't remember where specifically. And
Okay.
language barrier with him, and then we had a Spanish language barrier, which isn't as bad because I do speak enough Spanish to communicate.
Yep. Yeah.
And that one I can use translator a lot easier. But like
Mhm.
I don't know any African languages, so I can't translate that and then read it and then be like, does that say the right thing? I don't know. Um, so I do have to screen for language barriers because of the communication issues I have had, and I just want to make sure the guest has an enjoyable experience. And with the two, Rita was from China and then the guy from Africa, um, it was such a struggle to communicate with them. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point that you have to have a lot more communication.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the Airbnb I've had was not shared, obviously, and there's still communication. So like, yeah, I can just imagine. I've never really thought about that aspect too much,
Yeah.
but
The best way I've found to communicate is over text so that they can copy and paste into translator and so can I if I need to.
Mhm.
hmm
Um, but it like okay, on my street we have opposite side parking and the guy from Africa, I told him you have to park on the opposite side because of the snow, whatever. And so he did, but he parked on the opposite side but backwards. So like
yeah,
facing
I
the
get it.
wrong way for 3 days. I'm like,
Oh my
and he
gosh.
didn't get a ticket. And it's a $20 ticket. It's expensive.
I got a ticket the
Yeah.
one time I did that, parked the right way. I got a
hmm
ticket. Wow.
I don't know how he escaped not getting a ticket, parking not only on the wrong side, on the opposite side, but the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So that was pretty hilarious. And then I messaged him like 4 times about it because I'm like, bro, you're gonna get a ticket. And when people get tickets, they usually divert to me and they're like, well, you'll pay that, right? And I'm like, no. It it says on my Airbnb, I have a welcome letter on your bed when you come in that I will not take care of your parking tickets. You need to pay attention to this. If you have questions, ask me and I'll point you in the right direction, but I'm not paying your parking ticket.
Yeah, no kidding.
hmm Yeah. Okay, Crazy Rita. So she was from China. She looked so young. I had to talk to Airbnb support to make sure she was not a child. I thought she was 10 or 12 years old. She looked so young. Turns out she was 22. They ended up they couldn't disclose certain information, but they were just like she did everything correctly and it says she's whatever age. I don't think they could disclose that, but then I wasn't living there at the time, so my roommate just started to talk to her a little more and she found out she was 22. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, this happens a lot. People will book for a week just to like test out the space, but my place is so popular, I get booked out constantly. So someone will book for September 1st through the 7th, and then their last day will hit and they'll be like, "Oh, I want to stay another week." Well, I've already got someone booked for another week or a month or whatever. So, I'm not going to cancel because you changed your mind, so you got to go figure it out. Well, Rita did that. She had stayed 7 days and then she was like, "Oh, I want to stay another 2 months, I think it was." And I was like, "Well, I've got someone staying for a week, so I don't know, you can't I can't kick that person out because you changed your mind." And she was like, "Oh, okay, I'll figure it out." So she ends up staying at this like crack house motel. It's down the street from my house. Gets addicted to meth, comes back addicted to meth, cracked out all the time. Um she would dance in the rain in my backyard, soaked, and then come back inside and take a frozen pizza and put it on the counter to let it thaw so that she could eat it. Not cook it. She would let it thaw so that she could eat it raw, thawed. And then she would go and take a bath, fill it to the brim until it was spilling over, and then lay in there for hours and then hop out and leave the water in the tub. When she moved out, I had to throw away almost everything in the room because it was covered in milk and ice cream and stains and it smelled horrible. And there was like makeup everywhere. Sorry, one second. Okay, makeup everywhere. She dyed her hair at one point, and I don't know if she like dyed her hair and then flipped her head upside down and then flicked it back because she had super long jet black hair, but it looked like someone who had been murdered on my bathroom wall. It was just black dye all down the wall. And you can't, I don't know if you guys dye your hair. You cannot get hair dye out of the wall. It's just stuck there unless you repaint.
Yeah.
What else did she do? She left some creepy, crazy diary about her cracked out experiences that I read through one time. Um, Oh my God, she was just crazy. And then the day she moved out, she again was trying to extend her stay, but she ran out of money. So she was just like, "Can I just keep staying here?" And I'm like, "No, get out of my house, you crazy girl. You are so much work." And I'm trying to manage her, by the way, from an hour away
Yeah.
while my roommate is dealing with all of this. And
Oh
so,
my gosh.
and my roommate, mind you, she's only 21, 22 at the time. So this poor girl having to deal with crazy Rita. And so the day she moves out, it was pouring rain. And my roommate calls me and she's like, "Rita won't get out of the house." And I'm like, "Okay, I I don't know what to do." And so Jordan's like, "Oh shoot, I said her name." Anyway, my roommate's like, "I'm gonna just I'm gonna take her in my car and drop her off at the crack house guy that she's been hanging out with." I'm like, "Sure, just get her out of the house." And mind you, also, Rita had a bicycle that she had bought, a bunch of bicycle gear. She bought like 50 books that she just left. And so she just put whatever she could in a backpack and left my house and left everything behind.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy.
When I just asked you about that, I didn't even remember the details. I just remembered she was crazy. So I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna ask about this."
Oh, I always forget something. Like if my roommate were here, she'd probably have 10 more stories about how crazy she was. And then my neighbors were even like they would text me and be like, "Who's the crazy girl staying at your house? She's doing weird stuff in the yard again." Like she was nuts.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny.
So in
So
that
it keeps life
case, like
entertaining, that's for sure.
when she like when you have to redo the whole house or like the whole room and everything, obviously you would keep her deposit, right? And then like um is there any other compensation that you get for having to like redo the whole thing and all that, or you just get to keep their deposit and then you have to figure the rest out?
Is there a deposit?
So
What?
I don't do a deposit. I don't know
Oh,
if that's a thing. Is that a thing? If it
I
is, I
think
should
it
probably do that.
I thought it was, but maybe not. Just from my
It
personal
wasn't a.
experience like staying on Airbnb, but maybe not. Or maybe it's optional for some Airbnb hosts or
I can
I'm not
charge
sure.
later.
Never
I don't
mind.
have one anymore. But like you can charge
Okay.
later if you like damaged, but like that's kind of hard. And
Okay.
you need to kind of like arbitrate it through Airbnb, I think. But I don't
Yes.
know, maybe it is possible. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. I feel like I did it one time my first year doing it, but I don't think I ended up winning the case, if you will.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think I got my money back. So I can charge like a cleaning fee. Um,
Yeah.
but then with the way my guests stay, so like sometimes I'll get a guy that like in town for work that wants to stay for a month. And then he'll go back home for the weekend and then he'll book for another month in February. And
Hmm.
then now I'm charging two cleaning fees for the same guy that's staying back to back. And
Mm-hmm.
so it just got kind of awkward because I'm charging these people like $50 cleaning fee. So all I did was just kind of up my nightly rate instead.
Work it into
I
the
don't know.
price.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because it just got kind of because I'm Owatonna's not a destination,
Yeah.
area.
Hmm.
So I'm getting people here for work. I'm not getting people here for, a vacation or whatever, usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. How much do you charge a night in a shared space?
So I have always only charged $30 a night. I'm also the cheapest Airbnb in town, and I do that because of what I offer. I offer a room in a shared space. You don't have your own bathroom. You have to share the bathroom with three other people in the house. If, it's up to three other people, usually just two, me and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
We've got animals. I clean daily, but like we live in our home. We cook daily. So like
Mm-hmm.
the kitchen's not always pristine, the bathroom's not always pristine, but there's just a lot of consideration. And so people appreciate that price for the experience they get.
Hmm.
Um, I did a month ago just increase it to $35 a night. And then I'm gonna let that go for a couple of months, and then I'm gonna put it up to about 40,
Hmm.
and then see if what I get for like 40, and then kind of increase it slowly up to like 45. About 2 years ago, I increased it to 40, and I did this because we had another crazy roommate, um, and I was like, I just don't want anyone for a year, no guests for a year. That one just wore me down,
Wait, I'm not the
and so I
crazy
increased
roommate,
it.
am I?
No, but you know her.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that that
That would
one.
make the podcast way too long. So.
Yeah, I can't get into that one. Um, so anyway, she was too much, and I was like, I'm gonna go a year without Airbnb. I'm just done. And I increased it to, I think, 40 or 45 a night. And in that year, I had one guest, and I was like, I just don't care. I clearly priced myself out of the market, and I just didn't
Yeah.
care. But now I've noticed that the cheapest Airbnb aside from me is 60 a night.
Okay.
And again, so when I increase the price, this is my mindset if I were looking at different Airbnbs or hotels in town. If I'm coming to town and I see that I've got this shared space, yes, it looks like this nice big room that I have all to myself, but then I've got to share the bathroom and the kitchen if I'm a big cooker. A lot of my guests go out to eat, so I don't have to worry about them in the kitchen usually. Um, but if I'm looking at a space like this and I'm seeing, okay, for $50 a night, I can have Stephanie's house, or for $10 more, $60 a night, I can have my own room and a bathroom that's just for me down the hallway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or like and my guests have to park on the street at my house. Whereas like let's say for $10 more, I get my own little parking space in their driveway. Just like it's very easy to be like for just $10 more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to keep it either like exceptionally lower than that so that it doesn't price itself out and compare
Yeah.
it so easily and quickly to something that's a little bit better.
Hmm.
Yeah, so right now I'm trying to get like closer to 50, but I think that's going to be too high. I think 40 might now be the sweet spot.
Nice.
Yeah. Hmm. What about you, Rachel? Have you thought about doing like Airbnb in your duplex that you own at all, or did you just want like long-term
I
renters?
have thought about it, I think midterm might be a little bit more plausible. Um, it's also in like a long-term rental kind of like area. It's all duplexes and it very much feels like it's just a tenant occupied space. And so as an Airbnb, I don't think it would do as well. Um, but it would be something I would consider for sure because it is in like it's like 10 minutes from downtown and it's very bikeable. So that could be a draw, but yeah, I don't know.
When you have people coming, like you might not know this, but so well, Stephanie, you probably heard in our other podcast, but Bentonville is like the home of like Walmart.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of thriving in that aspect and growing. So like, do you know if people like come and just like do internships there where they're there, like you said, midterm for
Hmm.
like 3 to 6 months?
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's a lot
There
less work.
are, yeah, I've met a couple people that do the internships or that now have full-time jobs that did the internship that they come for 3 months over the summer, or maybe like they do a spring or a fall internship. But yeah, they do that. And also just there's so many suppliers and of Walmart in Bentonville, and so they are also bringing in people. Or like the other reason I thought midterm is because for someone moving here, it might be nice to have like a fully furnished place for a little bit so that you can be in the area and kind of figure out like where you want to live because Walmart and all its suppliers are constantly bringing people in. And at least for me, like it was nice to rent for a year before I bought because I didn't know the area. So like maybe somewhere online that looked nice actually after being here for a while I would have been like I don't know if I like that area to buy. um so that's another thing I thought about for midterm rentals.
Yeah. Yeah. My
And you,
Airbnb, I bought it. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say
I was
you
gonna
have
say,
a Airbnb. Yeah. You have an Airbnb, right?
yeah. Yeah, well now I'm living in it, but when I bought the
Okay.
house, it was intended for Airbnb, and I Airbnb'd it for about a year. And I bought so me and Stephanie live in a town like 20 minutes south of the town I bought my Airbnb in. And I did that
Okay.
because there is a Shattuck hockey like boarding school, which is national or global. I don't know, national. But a lot of parents that have kids that are like D1 hockey send their kids to Faribault to like go to this boarding hockey school because they're really
Yeah.
talented. So then their parents from all over the country like want to come see their kids and like they'll
Hmm.
stay sometimes for a weekend, sometimes for like 2 weeks. And they barely use the house. They're very clean. They typically are wealthier people that just want to mostly be at the
Yeah.
school watching games and stuff. And so that's why I bought here. But then my sister was turning 18 and needed a place to go. And we're like, and I was living at Stephanie's at the time, actually, so full circle. And I was like, I'm gonna like move into this house with my sister. And so, yeah, like the income, like the experience, like I'm 100% so happy right now. Um, because it was like, hit and miss. Like sometimes it was really great. I'd have a Shattuck parent book for like 2.5 weeks, just like instant book, and that was like 4,000 something dollars. But then some months it was
Wow.
just like kind of hit or miss. I
Yeah.
almost always
Yeah,
would
you
move
were
out
really
there,
in
but
a
I didn't
feast or
always make the
famine
most.
situation.
Sorry, what?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you were really in a feast or famine situation with that.
Yeah. And when I furnished the house, I didn't need to do work when I bought the house besides I cosmetically just wanted to like paint and make it like a really
Yeah.
relaxing, peaceful, like pretty house. So I put work into it that way. And then furnishing a 3 bedroom house was like I probably spent like 9, 10,000. I'd have to look back to see exactly. Um, so yeah. But then like when I had that one booking for 2.5 weeks and I profited like 4,500, it was like that's awesome. But yeah,
Hmm.
so now I've lived here since August or September of 2024, so a little bit over a year. But it's always like
Nice.
if we ever like move out and find a different place, I'll just probably go right back to Airbnb-ing it
Yeah.
because yeah, we'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah. Any other questions for Stephanie? I think we kind of like had a list and then we always just kind of talk. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
oh, actually, I'm gonna tell a
I
story about these Airbnb.
Yes, the one you texted me about yesterday? Because I don't remember that at all.
Oh, well, you weren't there. Probably.
That's probably why.
This is when I don't remember, like you were at work or something, and she had an older dog named Harley, who's sadly no longer with us. But you like asked me to like walk Harley around the block or something because you couldn't get home to do it, and you're so good with like making sure your animals are always really taken care of. So I was like, yeah, sure. And so I went over there, and I have my own code at her house, like different than the guest, like the door code. So I type in my code, and I'm like in the living room, and I'm like, "Hi, Harley," blah blah blah, like talking all embarrassing. And then I like stand up, and I like go down like maybe into the bathroom, like that little hallway, and there's a guy that comes out, and we're just like, oh, we're like,
I wonder
I
who
didn't
it
know he had a
was.
guest, and he didn't know I was coming, and it scared the. I thought I was about to get murdered. It scared the crap out of me. I'm like,
Oh
who are
my
you?
God.
And then I go, I'm supposed to be here. He's like, me too. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. But yeah,
I wonder who it was. That's so funny.
I don't know. At the time, you thought it was really funny, but that was a long time ago because that was like that was must have been pre you getting married. I think it was pre you moving to the other city you moved to,
Rochester.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, it was
I
really funny.
will I will say, so when I first started my Airbnb, Brenda, the mortgage. Oh yeah, yeah, you know her
Yeah.
husband and
Mhm.
her son.
Mhm.
Um, what I was telling her about, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna Airbnb my room, blah blah blah. I'm telling her all about this, and the first thing she says to me, which by the way, I just love Brenda. She goes, "What if you meet your future husband doing this?" And she was just like so into this, like just this into this fantasy. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, whatever." And a lot of people asked me that actually, like afterwards. And I'm like, that is not my goal, just so everyone's aware. I'm, not I'm not welcoming strange men into my home to like interview to be my husband. Like that's not happening. But I did have an experience with this one guest. It was like maybe 6 months into doing this. I think he was like my second or third guest too. Um, he was this super tall guy, like 6'5", in town for construction. Actually, I think electricity, electrical something, and commercial electrician. Yeah. Anyway, um, he was married and he would come and stay here Monday through Friday and then he'd drive back to like Nebraska, I think, on the weekends and then come back on Mondays. And he would hit on me all the time. Hey, let's go out and grab drinks. Hey, let's go out and get dinner. Um, like at first I was like, because a lot of my guests are very friendly and they like want to make a new friend in a place they're not from, right? And I'm the only
Mhm.
person that's available for that, aside from the people they work with. And so at first we went out and grabbed a drink one time, or maybe we grabbed dinner. I don't remember which. And I was just thinking like, whatever, just like grab a drink and hang out with this friend, I guess. And then he just starts like really hitting on me and it was just getting kind of awkward and I'm like, "You're married and this is getting weird." And he's like, "So?" Like it just got so weird. And then we kind of did like in a so then I started distancing myself from him and just like not being available to hang out and like when he would get home from work, I'd be like, "I'm ready for bed." And I just lock myself in my room. And then he kind of lost interest and like everything just kind of fizzled. He ended up staying with me for like 3 or 4 months, but he got kind of weird with paying me. We ended up, I ended up, what I'll do sometimes is block out my dates on Airbnb and then people just pay me cash. Well, he didn't know at which point his job was going to be done. And so he was paying weekly and he would pay a week ahead. So if he came back to town on Monday and knew he had at least a week's worth of work, he would pay me for the entire week ahead of time.
Mhm.
And so like 2 weeks went by, or no, a week had gone by and he didn't pay me. And I texted him because he was at work and it just had dawned on me. I was like, oh, he didn't pay me on Monday. That's kind of weird. And it's like Wednesday or Friday. I'm like, oh, hey, can you just make sure you pay me today when you get home tonight? Just bring cash. And then he never texted me back. And he had come home that night and just went straight to his room and passed out. And then I woke up the next day and realized, oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that. And whatever. And then texted him again maybe a day later. I'm like, oh, hey, don't forget to bring cash home tonight. And he texted me back, all caps, lady, you'll get your money. And I'm like,
When?
um, you want to move out anytime soon? Because you're being a dick. Like, I'm sick of this. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's gross. I'd be so worried about
Yeah.
having
yeah.
that like awkward situation,
Yeah.
whether like someone
He was
hitting
the
you
only one.
money or yeah. Yeah, you've had really good for the most part, good luck.
And I'm good with my boundaries too. Like
Hmm.
I when a lot of times when they get to my house, like I just do like a quick, here's your room, and then I don't really try to get to know them a whole lot unless they like come out and they like want to talk to me, and then I'll like, open up a little bit. But I especially now with them being upstairs, it really distances the whole relationship building thing. But when
Mhm.
they were downstairs and like wanted to like, "Oh, you're watching a show, can I watch it with you?" Like I was like, "No, I want to watch it by myself. Go away. I don't have a TV in my bedroom. Leave me alone."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, any other questions you have for her, Rachel?
I don't have any other questions, but thank you so much. Or do you have another one, Alana?
No, I don't think
I don't have
so.
a question. I don't have a question, but Rachel, I do think if you tried to do Airbnb in your town, you would get a lot of people that stay long term for work, like anywhere between
Mhm.
30 days to like 6 months to a year. And you'd
Yeah.
make a lot of money doing it.
You've kind of opened my eyes to that. I feel like I could not rent it out for $150, but just like doing yeah, but we'll see.
Because those people
Yeah.
that come to town for work, they don't want to stay in a hotel most of the time.
Hmm.
They want
Yeah.
a cozy place to live. They want to be able to
Hmm.
make their own meals. They want something more homey than just like a wall hotel room that's like
Yeah.
all, not
Yeah.
cozy.
Yeah.
Actually, like just on that real quick, that's actually how I met my boyfriend because I was bartending at Joe's and like before I met him, these like linemen would come in and I had a hockey coach staying every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but my Mondays through Thursdays like weren't filling up in the summer. And I met these like linemen, and I was like, it was very evident to me that they were like, they would talk about like how they're here for the week and then they go home. And so then one day I'm like, where do you guys stay? Always being, always networking. And I'm bartending, and they're like, oh, we stay at so whatever hotel. And there's not really good options here where I live for hotels. They're all kind of like, eh. And I'm like, I'll match the price if you stay at my house. Like, I don't live there, but like, if you stay at my Airbnb Monday through Thursday, like, I'll match the price. And so they did. And then they would leave town and give my number to like the next crew coming in. And so then my boyfriend never stayed at my house at that time. But like, the reason we met was one of those lines. So I actually did kind of meet my future through this, through Airbnb. But I'll say this in a not inappropriate way for the podcast. This guy tells my boyfriend, hey, there's a really hot bartender at Joe's. You should go meet her, to say it the appropriate way. And so my boyfriend was like, okay, when does she work? Monday nights. Cool. So he came in. I had no idea that he came in like to meet me. So we would just like talk like when he would come in and see me, and I would like be Airbnb to his friends, but he lived in a camper. And then when his the campground was shutting down in October because it's Minnesota winters, he had kept asking me over the summer, like, "Do you have a rental that I could stay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm full, I'm full, I'm full." And finally in October, he's like, "I don't know what to do." Like, they still have me up here, but like I can't sign a lease somewhere. Like I might only be here for like another month. Like, and I'm like, "Oh, actually, I mean, me and my sister have a third bedroom. You could rent from me." Yeah, now he's my boyfriend for a year. So yeah, kind of funny. He was my roommate renter first. So you know what? Some of us do meet people through Airbnb. But yeah. Yeah, anyways, Rachel, I think like with Walmart and like just construction workers and linemen, especially because your winters
Mm-hmm.
are
Hmm.
so harsh, you're gonna have more
Yeah.
people like doing that kind of work all year, I would assume.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
The
I should
longest
connect you
guest I
guys via
had,
like text so you can like ask questions if you have them for Stephanie as well.
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure. The longest guest I had was doing electrical work for a Costco distribution center in our area, and he stayed for over a year.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
okay, yeah, so your mortgage has pretty much always been paid by Airbnb, right? Just for our listeners.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
Pretty
amazing.
much. Because I mean, if someone stays for a full month, that's $900. I do give them like a 10% discount, but now with the increase, that's closer to like 1,000, 1,100, maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my mortgage is like eight.
Yeah.
But then,
Wow.
factor in all utilities and everything, closer to like pretty much 1,000. Yeah, 1,100.
Yeah.
That's still insane. When did you buy your house?
2017.
And what was your interest rate?
Yeah.
Um, so I don't remember. I think 5%. I don't
Okay.
remember because I refinanced in 2020 and I got like
Mm-hmm.
like
Wow.
three and a
Oh,
half or something. So it's like really, really low.
Yeah.
nice.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah. It was two
awesome.
nine nine in 2021. I know that. But then when I bought my
Wow.
Airbnb, it was like 7.5. But that was only
Mm,
in 2024. So
Yeah.
yeah.
cool. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Homies and Houses. We really appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me.
Of course, of course. We were so interested. We knew a lot of people would be interested to hear your story. I had people when I
Yeah.
like posted that we were gonna do an Airbnb podcast be like, "Oh, like, um, someone in my networking group, Stephanie, texted me across the room at the networking group on Thursday and was like, 'You're gonna have an Airbnb podcast? I can't wait to hear it. I've been thinking about doing that.'
Oh,
So I'm like, "Let's have
cool.
fun." So, but yeah, all right. Well, we'll see you guys next time on Homies and Houses. Thank you.